China convicts American activist Harry Wu of spying and throws him out. The Farm Belt Führer, an American neo-Nazi, is about to be sent to Germany, where he's charged with peddling hate. And Eye on America. Tonight, Blue Heaven, a haven for Mark Fuhrman and other cops who had it with LA's mean streets.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm John Roberts. An American human rights activist was tried, sentenced, then expelled from China today. CBS News has learned that a message from President Clinton to the Chinese leadership carried by California Senator Dianne Feinstein was crucial in closing the case of Harry Wu. Wu is on his way home to California tonight. The next step could be a high-profile visit to China by First Lady Hillary Clinton. White House correspondent Bill Plant, who broke the story of Wu's trial on this broadcast last night, begins our report.
Before the Chinese expelled Harry Wu, they televised his sentencing. 15 years in prison on charges of espionage. The judge lectured and humiliated Wu, an apparent effort to discredit him and also remind the U.S. exactly how China feels about Wu's brand of human rights activism. In California, a relieved Ching-Li Wu was quick to credit the administration with getting her husband released.
What do you think was the greatest factor in gaining his release?
I think the United States government really did a lot of things to make it. I think so.
But the U.S. government is a bit touchy at the moment about just what it did to help free Harry Wu. A White House statement welcomed China's decision to expel Wu, saying this action removes an obstacle to improving relations between the United States and China. The Chinese will likely read that as diplomatic code endorsing a visit by the First Lady. It is widely assumed that Hillary Rodham Clinton will attend the United Nations Conference on Women now that Wu is out. But the administration vehemently insists that there was no quid pro quo and denies it had any advance knowledge of Wu's release.
No, we did not. No. I mean, we knew that the trial was taking place, but there has been, to the best of my knowledge, no deal or anything the way that you describe it.
Maybe not, but both governments know the next move without ever even having to talk. China wants the First Lady to come, and she wants to be there. So she will go. Expect an announcement after a decent interval, say a day or two, that Hillary Rodham Clinton will be packing her bags for Beijing in September. Bill Plant, CBS News, Jackson Hole.
This is David Martin at the State Department. The arrest of Harry Wu, American citizen and human rights activist, had become a symbol of the deterioration in relations between the U.S. and China. But it was not the cause.
Harry Wu's case is important as a human being, but I don't think it's at the basis of our relationship, and I think it distracts us from the very fundamental problems we've got to work on with China.
Like human rights, symbolized most vividly by the massacre in Tiananmen Square. Pictures of Harry Wu under interrogation highlighted the human rights problem, but his expulsion does not solve it.
Almost all rights are violated quite extensively in China. From the most minimal rights to not be tortured, to not be jailed unfairly, all the way up to the right to free speech.
If Americans were outraged by China's human rights record, the Chinese were just as outraged when the administration allowed the president of Taiwan to come to the U.S. The Chinese saw that as a repudiation of an American policy which recognizes only one China, mainland China.
This is a relationship that is very, very complicated. There are a lot of very contentious issues on the table. Increasingly, there is an atmosphere of mistrust surrounding the relationship.
A summit meeting between the American and Chinese presidents might be one way of clearing the air. And with the Harry Wu case out of the way, that now seems possible. Most experts believe the expulsion will at least halt the downhill slide in relations. But the fundamental problem seems to be that neither the U.S. nor China can make up its mind whether the other is going to be a long-term ally or adversary. David Martin, CBS News, the State Department.
An American Nazi may be on his way to Germany soon to face trial for hate crimes.
Relations between the U.S. and China